Hi, it's Dana Horochowski. It's November the 12th, 2009. I'm just going to go into Terra Papers 2, and this is just a brief overview from Robert Morningsky's work. He hasn't completed it yet. There's no videos on it, so I'm going to do my best to teach it to you in the little time that I have that YouTube gives me. But Terra Papers 1 and 2 is still very suppressed, yet I find it's the most logical history of man and our Earth. So remember that Enlil, Yahweh, he commanded the Hebrews, which are from Nibiru, to honor the Sabbath. And this is going back to Terra Papers 1 and the work that I've done, and Robert Morningsky, which is located on the Jrgenius channel, and also CanadaStreetNews.com. There's a link on Terra Papers there. So please go see that to get updated. It's very interesting information. Now we have two brothers, Ea and Enlil. Ea, also known as Anki, is the creator god. He's the snake in the garden. He is the one that was the geneticist scientist and created all of the creations on Earth. They had a life lab, an experimental lab, and he worked with his sister, who's a snake queen from Orion. Her name is Ninhursag. And remember that Ea and Enlil are from the Sirius dog star system. Dog in reverse is God. And the Sirius and the Orion star systems decided to make nice and be peaceful at the ninth passageway. I've got some interruptions here. At the ninth passageway, so that there would not be any war. Okay? And what they used to do was, in order to do that, they would reprogram the minds of the Adamist race, which Ea created. But there was a war, and Ea's younger son, Ea's son Marduk, joined together with Ishtar Isis, created the Egyptian religion, and invaded, basically. Enlil took off back to the Sirius star system. Ea took off to the Pleiades, and now the Adamist beast, which is us, the human race, remember, they have 3 strands of DNA. They have the reptilian DNA, the Canis DNA, the dog, and then the angels, which is the bird DNA, gave us the forebrain, which gives us a lot of creativity and a lot of passion. So we are very interesting. We're a very interesting specimen, and a lot of the aliens want to take over planet Earth. So we were left pretty much hopeless until there came to be a point where the time of, well, you like to call him, some people like to know him as Jesus, but it's Yesu or Yeshua, also known as Joshua ben Joseph, depending on what language you're from. But remember, I'm just going to catch up to this to kind of give you a brief, but the teachers of Ea, when the Adamist race was cast out of the garden because they were having sex unauthorized by Enlil, they were taken out of the garden. Ea went to go teach them the ways of survival, and they were called Iesus, the teachers. So what happened is that when Ra ruled, he was the only sun god Ra, and the Isis was queen. They ruled for a while. They changed history, and the Shetty lizards, which are a reptilian, a renegade lizard from the Orion star system, decided to help Ra overthrow Ea and Enlil, and so they ruled for a while. But eventually, and then they kept this electronic net over the Earth so that the Adamists could not connect to Enlil, Anki, or the Snake Queens. Right, I got to get that right, because Anki is Ea as well. So Ea took off to the Pleiades with some of his Adamist race, and Enlil went back to Sirius. And the Shetty lizards later overthrew Ra, kicked him out of Egypt, but they kept the Ra legions, the religions, business as usual, to not interrupt the herd, the farm, which is us, the Adamist race. So right now you have the alien wars. The Illuminati lizard race is now going to be at war with the returning Isis, Ishtar, Ra command. Ra is also Lucifer, Aton, dark side of the sun. Obama is a Kenaton. He's one of the pharaohs. They think he's a reincarnation of one of the pharaohs of Ra. So all this stuff is going to play out now. That's why I think it's very interesting and important that you need to know this so that you don't get deceived. Now, who is Joshua ben Joseph? Well, he's the son of Joseph, and he's also known as Yesu, and it kind of tells you why, but I'm going to go into this. This is on Terra Papers, Book 2, page 11, 12, and 16. I'm going to kind of touch on. So do see it. It's Terra Papers link off CanadaStreetNews.com, and I've read it to you on the audio link at Jrgenius. It's under free lessons here. So the Essenes, they were schooled in the Orion and the Aryan mysteries. They were the Nazarenes. They were schooled in the Syrian mysteries. And the initiates believed that their own could ascend to the throne of earth. Sorry, this is Romeo. Doesn't like to, have his attention neglected to something else. Animals have free will here. Okay, so, but the anointed one, he must be a Syrian Lord of the Word descendant, and that would be Yesu. And he must be joined with an Orion descendant of the Mother Goddess. And Joshua, along with some others, he was a potential candidate. So Joshua, Yesu, was a Syrian bloodline of the house of David, and he was schooled in the Eastern mysteries. And he was confused about this one and only God thing that these Shetty lizards had, and this salvation at death, and the unquestioning obedience and the lack of challenge to God, because the lizards assumed the place of God and the guise of God, which he felt there was something that was left out. So he went into the desert to meditate about this, and I'm just checking my time here, my distractions. I'm not good. He went into the desert to meditate about this, and he was met up with this Yesu, this teacher of Ea. So he spent a couple of weeks, and this Ea teacher who showed up out of nowhere, and the Bible will say it's the devil who went to go talk to Jesus. Remember, half the Bible is missing because I have the Gnostic books here that Constantine pulled out, the Roman who wanted to be the only sun god Messiah. I'm just diverting because you need to know this. I'm stressing it because Rome, Catholicism was never Christian. It was just a political movement. You can also see Zeitgeist about it. But anyway, that's why you've been lied to. The Yesu, which is the teacher of Ea, was in the garden filling in Jesus, or Yeshua, on what really went down. And so he comes back going, well, these people need to hear the truth about what's going on. So he was a little confused, but he knew that the people needed to hear the truth. And he met up with another anointed one, which was the older cousin. It was John the Baptist. And before his beheading, John the Baptist baptized Yesu, and this allowed him to accept Yesu more readily as a man of cloth. So to fulfill the prophecy as an anointed one, Yesu was an initiate and a rabbi. And all rabbis have to be married. So he actually was married to Mary Magdalene. She was not a hooker. The Roman Church made her into a hooker, and they made Yeshua's mother into a virgin, and also Virgin Mary or whatever, Mother Mary. Anne was also made into this Immaculate Conception crap because just like a non-Leolite, they don't want to have unauthorized sex, and I guess sex is dirty. But anyway, he married Mary Magdalene, and she was an Aryan bloodline of the Mother Goddess. And they produced the Sangreal line. It's a royal bloodline, and that's Terra Papers book 2. And I've made reference to that on CanadaStreetNews.com. Yesu preached and counseled and healed, and in private he attacked the Roman guards and took their weapons. I'm just checking my time. I know it's distracting. So there was, they're building money for this ministry, and they were in the temple with the money changers, and they practiced licensed thievery. And the followers took who took from the money lenders. The Sanhedrin actually saw Jesus as an outlaw, Yesu as an outlaw, and wanted him dead. And his eldest son was caught with picking up some of the coins, and he was arrested. And Yesu didn't know what to do, so basically he needed to find a way to get his son out, because, I mean, if Yesu died, then that would be okay, because at least his son would be free, because his son, his name was Barabbas, would be the true heir to the throne of David, which would be the Syrian Orion alliance. Okay, so he's the eldest son. So this is the hidden story that we have to go on and talk about in part 2 of Terra Papers.